What is going on, everyone? My name's Boyd and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Shelty. His opponent today in the red color playing as Odin. His name is Grandmonster. The map is Ghostlake. And this is the first game of the first season of the first ever 1v1 Voobly League for Age of Mythology. The Titans. I'm excited to get this whole entire mammoth effort on the way. So I hope these games bring you as much joy as they have brought me, and I'm hoping that everybody involved is gonna really enjoy what's gonna be coming their way, because there's a lot of games to be played. There are a lot of games. I did some quick math, and you know how good I am at quick math. And there's 4 divisions in which each division has 4 games to be played every single week. So that's 16, is that right? 16 games a week. 16 1v1s a week to look forward to. I'm going to try and get around to as many of them as I possibly can. And for those of you who have no idea about the behind the scenes, I'd like to give a huge shout out to everybody involved. Chrono JJ for some amazing behind the scenes admin work. Has been awesome to kick this thing off. Shelty with a monumental effort on the community side, helping people out with their discords and their scheduling and everything like that. Blackadder and AOL Iron Maiden, who are going to be jumping in and helping on the streams. The live streams of the event will be awesome, as well as a bunch of other people and things and stuff that if I've missed out on anyone, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of Wiz Sanji and Raifang for the and Keen Flame for the I'll start with Wiz Sanji and Raifang for their inputs to help set the tournament up, the league up, and Keen Flame as well for his inputs on that, as well as the sick stream logo you saw at the start of the recording. Anyways, it's game time here. This is Champions League. This is the Colossus division. This is week 1. We've got Grandmonster playing Odin. He is a standard Odin player. It's the only I have no idea. It's the only god he plays. He's an Odin main. Shelty, on the other hand, over here, he's not an Oranos main, but he is a random god player. So he'll often play a lot of different gods, and it's looking like he's doing a 4-minute advance time here with the Oranos. It's going to be some very aggressive Oranos here. He's already scouted out this hump pack with the oracles over here, and he's going to be moving his oracles forward. So he's going to be putting this Odin under a lot of pressure already, and it's not looking like Grandmonster's quite able to advance just yet, even though he wants to be. The temple is up. There's the Heimdall, the cancel for Freya. So he's 20 seconds behind, so he's actually going to get kicked off this hump, which may be brutal, and well, it will be a little bit brutal, but we'll see if he can manage with that. He's already got 6 villagers over here throwing up the wall segments. He's got a nice secured gold mine here. He's got 6 goat in his base, so he does have something to go back onto before he can push back out. And Odin does have a very strong, a very good time with dealing with the Oranos players by just going mass Ulfsark. There's really not a lot that the Oranos players can do about that. And there's the oracles moving in. They've seen this. No reaction from Grandmonster just yet. Prometheus comes in. Valor gets cast, immediately going straight onto that gatherer. A shockwave may be coming down instantly, and he's going to be able to pick off 1 villager and potentially 2 villagers from that shockwave if he can get the path blocking happening, and he is going for it, and it's looking like this villager is going to be falling as well. That is absolutely huge for Shelty and exactly what he needs. Following this, he's throwing out 2 counter barracks. That's dangerous if I've ever seen it. 2 counter barracks is asking for that Ulfsark flood. If I am Odin King right now, I'm taking villagers off this wood line here, 2 or 3 of them off this wood line, and throwing them over onto goat so I can get my Ulfsark spam happening. On top of that, this Valkyrie is going to be moving in and trying to get some raids onto there, or something like that. The Promethean coming out and we do have the double Termers on their way. The Oracle's scouting around the base because Shelty is not scouted it out very well, does not know there's a gold mine here, and he's spotting another gold mine on the back over here. Nice wall up over here as the Promethean offspring coming in, and there is the second longhouse coming out for Grandmonster, but he still hasn't started up Ulfsark production just yet. The Promethean swinging around the back of the base here. He actually could move in and hit off this location here, but he is dealing with a Valkyrie, which will be a little bit of an issue because there's no heroes here. The Valor has already been used, so this citizen's going to get pushed all the way back. A forest fire, maybe able to pick off this citizen, and he does get a citizen pick off. That is absolutely huge for Grandmonster. That's 2 Gatherers down and 1 Oracle down, so it's about an even amount of pickoffs, and one or both God powers have been used. 2 God powers for Shelty, so a very even situation here, and Grandmonster's even sacrificing some of this Valkyrie to get some pickoffs here. Really smart play there. If he can get out another Valkyrie to heal this one back up, will be huge, but Shelty gonna have to sort of regroup a little bit here. Has lost in Herster over here while that was going on, but an Oracle hero has fallen as well as a 5 HP Oracle over here as well. In this period of time, I feel like this is the time when you gotta move back out onto this hunt over here, and you can see that don't want to be throwing axemen here. You need to I haven't seen him take the villagers off the wood here to react, which is super unfortunate. But you gotta realize that this is a double counter barracks here. If we jump over to Grandmonster's perspective, he hasn't scattered it out, and I feel like Grandmonster is a niller player, so he does have a little bit of inexperience in the Oranos matchup. But if you see an Oranos player going up at 4 minutes, and you can click on the villager, and you can see there's no hunting dogs, there is no way that they can support a military barracks and a counter barracks. So you have to assume this is double Terma here, so making these throwing axemen is going to be a very difficult time for you. We do see another Valor coming in, and now, nice pick off there from the town center on that Oracle hero, and these Terma are going to be getting sort of just trying to get the poke damage in here, chip damage. The Ulfsark is severely hampered without getting Lone Wanderer against these Terma. The Terma actually do fairly decently against the Ulfsark without Lone Wanderer, and he's actually upgrading Watchtowers instead of getting Lone Wanderer here. This is really not good for Grandmonster here. He needs to be getting Lone Wanderer to deal with this. We are seeing a house trying to get thrown up here, but I feel like that's a little bit of a crazy effort there, so I'm not assuming that that'll happen. Does pick off one of the Promethean offspring and not the other one, or does get the other one with the town center and the Watchtower fire, and those So we're going to be getting out of here, and you can see that the Ulfsark get picked off so fast. The benefit of Lone Wanderer is that the Ulfsark can just run in, no problems, and start attacking before they start taking damage, whereas without Lone Wanderer, they will probably lose one before they start hitting, and then the Terma can just run away, no problems. More units streaming in. We do see the Ravens scouting around, making sure that no hunt's being gathered, but Oranos doesn't need that hunt if they're going pure Terma here. Doesn't need that hunt at all. The Longhouse is struggling to produce those Ulfsark, and there's the Lone Wanderer. Some units moving up onto this food over here, and Shelty not being too worried about this. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised to see him not leave a unit up there, because if Grandmonster had moved back up to this earlier, he could be in a real big problem here, given that he's gone pure Terma. But unfortunately, I should say for Shelty, Grandmonster not moving back up onto that caribou until this time is potentially possible for him to go over and check that one out. Again, we do see the Terma moving in. They're going to be greeting this wood line, but with the Watchtower support there, we'll be having to move back. But again, all of these Terma will one-hit an Ulfsark. Nice shockwave there as well. Make sure you attack the close Ulfsark, not the ones getting shockwave, because they will miss those further away shockwaves because of the way that their accuracy works. And Grandmonster retreating back to the tower again, and you will be seeing nice micro there, dodging the Terma fire as the Lone Wanderer comes in, and we're seeing more of these Terma coming. I'd love to see potentially either a second town center coming down or a transition into some Murmillo now for Shelty, given that he's got the extra villagers out. He should be able to afford to build a military barracks and be in a decent position there. So we'll see what happens here, but more dwarfs getting built out of the town center. He's got 15 dwarves on gold right now. Grandmonster's got 400 gold in the bank. At this point, honestly, these Ulfsark cost 30 gold each. He can just take these dwarves off of gold and put them over on some berry bushes here, and he'd be in a better situation. Unlike Shelty, whose resources are all quite low. I mean, he's floating some resources, but he's going to be saving up for a town center or saving up for a really early Hyperion to get out Satyr, which completely shred through these Ulfsark. And we'll see, we are pushing through with these Ulfsark, but nice choke point here from Shelty. A lot of these Ulfsark sitting in the back, not being able to fight. So nice play there, and Grandmonster noticing that he can't stay in there. A lot of those termite did fall, so that's a nice win there for Grandmonster as he has to retreat back to his base. But these villagers still happily gathering from food up here, while Shelty's got some idle units up here, just not running over there. And he has moved over with his units to check these out, but he hasn't checked on the caribou. You can actually see from Shelty's position, you can see that these caribou show zero HP. That means that they have gone, and if he was checking them, he would know that they're not there anymore. We do see the wood villagers are moved again over onto this position here. Prometheans coming in right now. This means that these Ulfsark can't fight back because the Prometheans will just do too much damage to them. Now they're going to be going after this watchtower. Not a lot can be gained from this watchtower apart from some maneuverability in the back of the base of Grandmonster, but Shelty going to have to retreat at this point because he doesn't want to fight underneath the tower fire. But once he gets out of there, can turn around and do quite a bit of damage to those Ulfsark army, but he's deciding to retreat when that Herser comes in. Slowed Berg Screamer. He's a man if I've ever seen one. That's such a name. Okay, Terma still coming out, and we are seeing Shelty is floating quite a bit of wood here. This is a surprise, considering at this point we would normally be seeing a double town center or a heroic age here from a mass Terma Oranos player, because honestly, as Oranos, you only really need to have 3 villagers on wood to support the 2 counter barracks here, but he's got 6, which is why he's floating so many. And now the villagers moving in, going to be moving on to these boar. The Ulfsark do finally get that medium infantry coming out, which is really going to be scary for this Oranos army. But we are seeing that Shelty is deciding to fight this one. I think there's quite a few idle, or not even idle units here, but just not that many units here for Grandmonster as he's trying to push through here. The Prometheans are going to get picked off very fast by just one hearse here, but the rest of Grandmonster's army is really falling down. 53 population for Grandmonster to 103 population for Shelty, and Grandmonster in this moment decides to tap out. GG, well played by Shelty, but you gotta ask yourself the question, Grandmonster, where was your plan here? Your plan here was to mass Ulfsark and get to that critical point before you fight. Grandmonster was sitting very, very low on the population here. You can see when they took that fight, military units wise, Grandmonster sitting at 21 to 36 military units. That is there's no way you're going to be able to overcome those numbers. You got to get up there and get to that 115 population before you're fighting there, or go for a separate strategy like a semi-fast heroic as an option, using that frost and frost giants to do some real damage. But just trying to run your face in here while you're trying to eat these boar, just not going to work for you. I think a more interesting tactic he could have tried as well, even in that situation before he decided to take this fight, was stealing these caribou, because Shelty, he had no, well, I don't think I can see because, oh, there we go. Shelty would have had no idea that these caribou would be getting eaten, because he's just given up on even attempting to get them because he's playing safe and away from the Ulfsark raids. Just going to transition into farms here, but he could have stolen those caribou as well, eaten this polar bear, and then gone onto these berry bushes and probably been fine without getting spotted. If you can see the line of sight that these units are getting, he's only coming up to about here. So there's a lot of food here he could have eaten or snuck instead of going for this boar and forcing this fight and just waiting a little bit longer on that one. But well played by Shelty. We'll move on to game number 2 very soon. If you have enjoyed these games, do appreciate any follows or subscriptions on the YouTubes. My name's Boyd, and we're going to get onto that next game real soon.